Hi, I'm Roxanne, and welcome to my channel, Catholic Homebody, where I talk about all things home. Anything from DIY home improvement, homemaking, and homeschooling. And for more content like that, please subscribe. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how I set up my 2021-2022 homeschool bullet journal. So I have 7 kids, ages almost 12 years old down to 6 months old. And I have been homeschooling for about 8+ years now, if you count the preschool years. And I will, this coming school year, have a 7th grader, 5th grader, 3rd grader, 1st grader, and 3 little boys to liven it up, I guess you could say. I personally prefer a bullet journal over a traditional homeschool planner. I love how I can customize it. I can change it throughout the year to fit my family's needs. I've been using the bullet journal method as a homeschool planner for a few years now, and every single year my setup changes. So this past year, I decided to do something completely different. It was a completely different concept. I've never heard of it before, and that is reverse planning. So, what is reverse planning? Reverse planning is where you write down the things that you actually do versus making a list of the things you want to do. And I loved this so much that we are going to continue to do the reverse planning. And it's been such a huge game changer within our homeschool. I love it so much. I can't say that enough. And before, I would plan our studies out the week ahead, and life happens. We don't get to every single subject or whatever it was for a day or the week. And I would always be so focused on what didn't get checked off that I would get stressed out and oh my goodness, we're falling behind. Homeschool moms, we just sometimes could just, oh my gosh, we're failing, So I really enjoyed the reverse planning and just me jotting down what we actually accomplished, even though, say, we didn't get to maybe everything that I would have liked to. Looking back, I was able to now focus on, wow, we did do a lot, or, we did do something, and versus being so focused on what we didn't. And I, again, love reverse planning so much that, we're just going to continue to do it for this coming school year. So, have you heard of reverse planning before? This was a totally new thing that I just discovered, like I said, about a year ago. And, let me know if you've ever heard of it, and comment below if it's something that you would be interested in doing. So let's get into how I set up this year's homeschool bullet journal. The journal I'll be using this year is a B5 size, which is about 7.5 by 10 inches. I got mine from Amazon. It came in a 2-pack for only about $20. The nice thing about this one is it is pre-numbered, which is always really convenient, and I really like the size of this journal, and I feel like the quality is really great. I got this pack of highlighters I'll be using. They are vintage colors, and I absolutely love how these came out. I will also be using some washi tape in order to decorate my bullet journal. This was a pack that I bought that I felt complemented the highlighters very well, along with a slightly smaller size washi tape pack that had a little bit more pattern to them, just to liven up the decor a little. I'll be mainly using the Pilot Friction pen to write in my notebook. This is my go-to pen. I love how you can erase it. I feel like it erases actually really well. And these are my favorite pen and just overall go-to pen lately. So the first page is going to just have my name, and I will probably go ahead and put in my address in the case that it ever gets lost, and hopefully somebody would return it to me. So this first page I'm going to have as just a decorative page. I printed out this homeschool quote from Sarah Mackenzie. She has such great wisdom, and I felt like this quote from her would just be a great inspirational quote to have in my homeschool bullet journal. So I am adding it to the first page. I did not feel like writing it, and that's why I just decided to print it out, and I'm going to be sticking it in with some washi tape. And since this is for 2021 and 2022 school year, I am going to go ahead and add the school year to the top. The next is going to be an index page. Then I have a key page. I am going to be adding the symbols that I may be using frequently and what they may mean, such as like a square for like a checkbox, things like that. The biggest point of having my key page, other than the basic of just jotting down what symbols I may be using and what they mean, was I really wanted a spot to have an abbreviation list. It was important to me to make sure I had an abbreviation list in this notebook because I want to abbreviate a lot of my kids' homeschool curriculum versus writing out Matthew C every single time. I will just put MUS. Same with teaching textbooks. I'll put TT for teaching textbooks, especially longer books or curriculum like The Good and the Beautiful. So this next page is something really cool. I actually just learned about this a couple days ago, which was including a grid cheat sheet in your bullet journal. Basically, you write out how many spaces you have and just do a generic markup of any of the outlines you may need. So I have markups of the measurements for like a 2x2 or 3x4, things like that. And this is supposed to help with planning out spreads, and you don't have to always count all the mini dots, which I am hopeful that this will be very beneficial in bullet journaling. Next is going to just be my year at a glance. This is always helpful and just nice to have a page where you could just see the whole next 12 months out in advance. I know there's stickers out there that have all of the months and days already predated that you could just easily use, but I like sort of this tedious work, very relaxing. So next is my future log. I jot down any important dates, appointments, commitments related to school here. Things like if my homeschool group is having an event in a couple months, then I could put the date here, or just anything that's school related that we're going to be partaking in, it's going to go in the future log. Also, I'll be scheduling just because days, review weeks, any holidays, and holy days that we may take a break from. Just because we can days is a cool idea I got from Sarah Mackenzie. Just because we can days are days that instead of doing school, you do something fun instead. These are meant to be purely fun, so usually not like an educational field trip, and usually something a bit more special than just going to the playground down the street that you may go by often anyways. Some of the things that I'll be planning for our just because we can days are bowling, maybe like movie day or getting ice cream, things like that. And I will probably schedule these like one quarterly throughout the school year. I also will be doing review slash catch up weeks every 6 weeks. These are going to be weeks meant for me to just sort of assess where we are, troubleshoot if needed, and if the kids need any work that they need to catch up on, this will be the week that will do that. My future log this year, I decided to try something a little different and unique, which is this mini book thing inside my bullet journal. I just thought that this would have been a really fun way to just add something different to my bullet journal. So next we have is my website login page. This is where I list any of the login information for any of the educational websites that we need. I will put in my information for logging in, and if my children need a username or password, I will also write theirs down here. This has been really useful because my kids will easily forget their information, and if they need to, they will grab my notebook to look up their password. So this has just been very handy to have. So this is going to be a rhythm and routine page. I am going to have what I would like our morning, afternoon, and evening routine to be. We are probably not going to follow this exactly. Again, this is just going to be more so the goal of what I would like our days to be like. First, I'm going to add a little box here that I'm going to list our family basket loop. Our family basket is essentially just our take on a morning time basket. We will not always do this in the morning, so that's why I'm calling it a family basket and not a morning basket. Next, I'll have my weekly outline schedule. This is just a general schedule of what I would like our school week to go. I have one that is for Avila and Kateri, who are my first and third graders. Since they have pretty much the same subjects, I will probably doing their studies very similar as far as scheduling. Genevieve, who is my fifth grader, since she's more independent, she has her own sort of schedule that I would like her to pretty much follow. And Bradley, who is going to be using Colby, he'll have his own. But since I'm still not quite sure how I'm going to be setting up his school week yet, I'm just going to be adding a blank one just for you to see. I did not feel like writing this all out in my journal, so this was another thing that I decided to just print and tape in using the washi tape. Now I'm going to go straight into the month of July. Here I'm now going to set up my monthly spread. I just use usually one sheet, and I don't add too much to this. I like to just have a section for important dates and a section for goals for that month, along with just a section for notes. For the other side, I decided to add another inspirational homeschool quote just to help take up some of the space and just to have that extra encouragement. You could find any of these printables, by the way, on my blog for free. The link is going to be in the description below. So the weekly spread layout that I'm working on right now was actually my favorite layout to do in my bullet journal from last year. I feel like it does give off a very traditional planner vibe, but I just felt like compared to some of the other spreads I've tried, that this one I just really liked, and so I'm going to go ahead and do it again for the first week of July. So I would like to go ahead and try other weekly layouts, and so this time I decided to try something a little different, and I am going to separate everything by subject instead. It'll be interesting to see if I like this. I honestly see this being something I'm either going to love or hate, so time will only tell. I will say that this is by far my favorite weekly spread so far aesthetically. I think this just came out so cute. And for July's last week spread, I am trying something similar to the first week, but instead I am going to have the subjects going from left to right and the days of the week going up and down. I'm so excited to be trying these two new weekly spreads. That is the beauty of bullet journaling, is I can change up the weekly spreads or any spread that I feel like, and I can't wait to see how I end up liking these two. And I'm excited to also be trying other new layouts in the future. Sometimes my bullet journal would just be in list form, and I will also occasionally add little notes of how the kids are doing. And here's another example of our reverse planning and how it will look. And here is the final flip through. Thank you so much for watching this video and helping me set up my homeschool bullet journal. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe found some ideas for you to apply to your own homeschool planner. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and please subscribe.